Welcome to Grounding Ascension, where we explore topics around activating and integrating our I am presence, coming back to our true selves. I am your host, Celeste Glus. Aloha and welcome back. Today's episode is specifically catered towards anyone with a womb and anybody who has bled or believes to bleed with the moon cycle. So I'm pretty excited to share this information because I've been following this for myself for quite a while. And as soon as I started talking about it with the women in my community, I realized I wasn't the only one experiencing this. And not only is there a lot of women experiencing this, we are all pretty hesitant to mention it or talk about it. So here I am coming to the forefront and speaking about our menstrual cycle and how it is shifting away from the lunar cycle and into something new, something that I have been tracking, and you may have already realized or known what I'm going to say, but we are aligning, and this is why I'm calling it the Galactic Woman, because we are no longer aligning necessarily to the moon cycle, meaning we are not bleeding and ovulating with the new moon and the full moon as we have done for so long. So in order to understand why, we need to realize that times have obviously shifted, right? So before there was all this light pollution, electricity, and radiation in the air, the night sky and the light of the moon really had an impact on our hormones, on our circadian rhythms, on our lifestyle. That is no longer the case, right? Most of us do not live outside in the jungle with just sunlight or moonlight. So hence we are being radically transformed through the light information, through the screen time, through the radiation that we are exposed to on a daily basis. Now, I won't go into the health part of it because there are ups and downs, like you may already know, but I can definitely tell you that our DNA is shifting, it is upgrading. So we are able to cope with and deal with whatever it is happening in our environment, given that we are taking care of ourselves and balancing all of this light, these LEDs, these technology waves, these radiation waves. So given that we are sustaining a balance in that, we are shifting as a humanity. And so anybody with a womb that is tracking their cycle according to the new moon and the full moon and using that, because I often see women using that as a form of natural birth control, like, oh, it's the full moon, I should be ovulating, and that's just what it is. That is really, really dangerous. I highly recommend against doing that because we are shifting, and I'm seeing it more and more and more the more I talk about it. And how am I seeing it? Our menstrual cycles on a personal level, they are aligning to portals and gateways. And I've been seeing this for myself for quite a long time. I just haven't spoken about it because it sounds so out there. And then when I started to see it amongst other women in the community and women also kind of getting stressed around that, like, why is my period so short sometimes? And why is it coming late other times? What's happening? Well, naturally, we are aligning to these portals and gateways. So I am opening up the conversation to you and hopefully opening up the idea that our womb, just like our energy field, just like our multidimensional body, is so much more than what we perhaps quote unquote know it or see it to be. And we are intricately connected to the universe, right? If you've taken my Woman Wisdom Mentorship course, one of the first things I talk about is the multidimensional aspect of our womb. It is literally a portal to the cosmos. And I don't only say that, I have experienced it physically, through vision, through experiences. So I know this on a first-hand basis. And when I started to notice my menstrual cycle aligning to portals and gateways, like the solstice and the equinoxes and the eclipses and the gateways, it was no surprise to me. What was surprising to me was that it started to happen more and more often, and my period actually started to change radically, meaning it would arrive 5 days early. It would arrive 4 to 5 days late, which for me is not normal. Except for now, it is becoming normal. So what does that mean in regards to tracking our cycle? That is huge, ladies. If you are learning how to track ovulation, if you are depending on an app to tell you when you are ovulating, and we are actually realigning our DNA, we're realigning our energy field, we're realigning our womb space to literally click into something bigger, then that is no longer good enough to put your fertility or your form of natural birth control in somebody else's hands. And this is why I speak so much about understanding and learning how to track your own cycle, learning how to have a natural form of birth control through the fertility awareness method, through the course that I teach, and through the planner that I've created. But aside from all that, really understanding that this is an ascension process. This is our DNA and our life and our bodies and our wombs connecting to something so much bigger. And this is what I believe to be, and what I am seeing to be, the birth of the Galactic Woman. So I'm just really excited to see this develop. I am really excited to hear from you if this is something that perhaps you have noticed your menstrual cycle come early or late. And I challenge you to start keeping an eye out, writing down the dates, the eclipses, the portals, and noticing, is your body aligning to this? And how are you feeling about that? Because there is a lot of history, his story, about why we are aligned to the moon, or we have been aligned to the moon, to the point that we have called it, let me correct myself, the Moon Cycle, right? Which I no longer call it that, because I'm not aligning to the moon. I am sometimes. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing better or worse about it. It's just understanding that the old programs and the old technology and the old belief systems around the moon, and we can go really far into that, right? That goes really deep, but I won't go there. What I will say is that all of that is being rewritten. All of that is being wiped clean. And so these belief systems that we've had about the moon are no longer there if you choose them not to be. Of course, anything that we choose to hold on to will remain in our reality, right? But I am opening up the conversation and inviting you to notice, what is your menstrual cycle and your womb aligning to? And what is your ritual, or what has been your ritual around the moon? And are you open to perhaps shifting that towards a galactic sense, towards the portals, towards the gateways, towards these incredibly powerful moments in time that all of humanity throughout time has kept a record of? So I will finish off today's episode with that. I invite you to explore this conversation and contact me, reach out to me, and let me know, how is your menstrual cycle doing? Are you tracking it? What is it aligning to? And how is that going for you? Okay, my galactic women and men, I will see you in the next episode. Until then, sending you so much love and aloha. Mwah.